Ms. Krishnamoorthi.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair Maloney, for accommodating my hearing that's happening in another committee simultaneously. First of all, the Select Subcommittee released a new report today revealing the Trump administration's shocking failures to protect critical pandemic relief funds from fraud. The committee's analysis in this document right here, which we just released today, I think it's going up, basically shows that 98% of DOJ's prosecutions of fraud against the EIDL program involved fraudulent applications submitted during the Trump administration. Here's actually one example why, and there's a graphic showing basically some guidance that the Trump administration had given to officers at the SBA with regard to EIDL loans. The Select Subcommittee found that under the Trump administration, loan reviewers at the SBA were directed to approve applications for the EIDL program, even when they had red flags that indicated potential identity theft. Inspector General Ware, your office has specifically investigated identity theft fraud committed against the EIDL program through January 2021. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Did the choice to approve applications for the EIDL program, despite red flags indicating potential identity theft, increase the likelihood of fraud?
Well, thank you for your question. The work that we are doing in this regard is ongoing. What we did, so we have not fully completed that work within my office.
I understand, but I guess my question is this, would approving EIDL program loans, despite red flags with regard to identity theft, increase the likelihood of fraud?
Yes, it would. I believe that we did have a report that asked them to flag items such as that. It gave them specifically which ones we asked them to flag. And we also asked them to set up a system where you could clear a flag if it was indeed a reason for something happening.
Right. And prior to the pandemic, SBA actually had a, quote, rule of two control, close quote, rule of two, where basically two SBA employees would review and approve a loan application. But the SBA OIG reported that this control was abandoned for EIDL loans related to the pandemic. Mr. Ware, did the choice to abandon the rule of two control for the EIDL program increase the likelihood of fraud? I presume it did.
Yes, it did.
Whenever you dispense with a requirement that two people, basically act as a check on fraud, well, you're going to have more fraud, and that was predictable. Now, let me ask you this. Mr. Horowitz, from your work with partners across the government, do you believe that EIDL and other vital programs could have delivered quick relief while doing a better job of preventing fraud?
Yes, Congressman, I think that's correct. What the challenge here in any program, particularly in a national emergency that we're facing, is speed versus proper payments and controls. And what we saw here early on for several programs, including PPP and EIDL, was the speed overrode any controls whatsoever. And so having simply a situation where you're requiring self-certification and nothing more is an invitation to fraudsters to come in and try and obtain benefits they shouldn't otherwise get. As Mr. Ware has reported, I think it was 57,000 applications in PPP were for applicants who are on the do not pay list, involving several billions of dollars. Well, that do not pay list is sitting in the Treasury Department. It doesn't take a lot of time to compare that data with the applications. So
what was the biggest, can you just tell us, what do you know what were among the biggest loans among those 57,000?
Let's see if Mr. Ware.
I don't have that. Unfortunately, I don't have that report in front of me currently, so I can't speak specifically to what the biggest loans were, but any of them would have been an issue.
And how much fraud are we talking about just in those loans?
$3.6 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Thank you so much for your time.